Part 2, day 2 of our handlebar control switches swaparoo. Yeah, basically what I'm doing today, in case you didn't see the video yesterday, which is I've got a VFR with some old switches on there. The switches are no good. A lot of them are frozen up or they just look horrible. Extremely weathered. And the wires are slightly larger on the VFR than they are on the CBR. And so basically I've got the VFR bike and I'm trying to switch over. I'm trying to update, improve the bike. And so in order to do that, I can't buy new VFR controls because the bike is 25 years old. So I'm trying to, so I'm using newer controls off a same brand. This is all Honda stuff, bike, but just a different model. And this is a CBR 300 that these came off of because they were, the CBR 300 is a simple bike, and so that the controls on it are just as simple as a bike that was 25 years ago. That's what we're doing here. And so these are the hand controls for one side of the bike. Hopefully we'll get to the other side of the bike too. Hopefully we're successful. I'm going to start with the easiest stuff possible, which is these two wires on the kill switch here. I'm going to swap these around. So I'm going to cut them off the VFR. This is the VFR one. You can tell the VFR one because it looks knackered. And then we want these wires. Alright, and I'll cut the switch we're going to use. This is off the CBR. I'll go ahead and cut that. Alright, so the CBR one, interestingly, has sort of a black coating on the top of it, over the top of the solder. Chip that away, scrape that off. I'm not sure what that coating is. I wish I knew. That would be, it might be useful. I'm sure it's some sort of protective coating to help sort of weatherproof this to some degree. So I do wish I knew what that was. If anybody knows, please let me know. That'd be an awesome bit to have in my arsenal. Make things a little bit more professional around here. I got some flux here, but it's kind of old flux. Some soldering. I forget which one's which. This is specifically for electrical soldering, which it nicely says on the side, but then, yeah, it's the rosin core. Rosin core solder is what you want for electrical stuff. I don't know if this will work. Let's try it. Got a little clip. Clip my wire in there.
Let's see.
I hate this. I never have a soldering iron that seems to get hot enough to melt the actual solder. Oh, this is so frustrating. This should melt just instantly, and I can't get it to melt by holding on here for like 20 minutes. All right, my soldering iron's not hot enough. All right, we finally got one. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. So I'm pretty sure it's a flux issue I've got here where I just need to have enough flux on everything to sort of break those little barriers. Skim coat on the metal, like we have oxidation and stuff on the metal. If I've got enough flux on everything, I think that's the key. Boy, yeah, I would be fired as a solderer, I can tell you that. They would not. All right, flux, 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 more flux. This will not melt. Fucking A, man. Fuck. Alright, some sandpaper on the tip here. Some more flux on our material. Oh yeah, there we go. Fuck, the tip was just dirty. All All right, so those are prepped. All right, now the hard part, which is soldering it onto the actual piece here. Let's see if we can do this. Just covering this shit in flux, man. All right, so I believe now the key is a clean tip on the soldering iron and then flux on everything. I've pre-soldered all this stuff, so in theory I don't need to add more solder, right? Together. Yes. Genius. Genius! Like I know what I'm fucking doing. Yeah. All right, we've become a different level of craftsman today. Look at that, soldering, key skill. Oh yeah, man, nice. Check it out. I soldered that. That was me, and those are nice, secure connections. Very happy with that. Well, this is fun when we're successful, right? I really enjoy being successful. All right, now we need to swap out all of these little guys down in here. Cut all of them out. And basically, I need to note that on this one I'm dealing with basically the two sides. And the two sides, one side's over here, one side's over there. So I need to know which two wires are together on this side and which two wires are together on this side. And those are the ones. You can see how the switch works. It goes in like that, and it pushes a mechanism in this way. So I need to look up which ones are supposed to start the bike, because those need to be on a certain side of the switch, right? Because otherwise the bike would be trying to start all the time. Because one side is supposed to be the headlights, which would be on all the time when the bike is on, and the other side is supposed to be the starter motor, basically, which would only be on momentarily to start the bike. And so I got to make sure I have those wires on the correct side of the switch so that the switch works the way we want it to. All right, so this is the CBR switch, and you can see this one has a red and yellow wire on there. That one goes to the starter, basically goes to the starter relay. You can see on our old VFR one, it also has a red and yellow wire in there, and that also on the wiring diagram goes to the starter relay. So that's the key ones. I'm going to swap those over first. Make sure that is in the right position and I can't screw things up. So let's cut those out of here. And tape each group of wires off or together. Try and make sure we can't somehow connect them. All right, so now that I feel like I know what I'm doing, I can actually show you what I'm doing. So I just got a little bit of wire, copper wire on the end there, making sure I get a lot of flux on that thing. And the flux is supposed to, basically there's an oxidized layer on top of the metal, the copper, and the flux is supposed to help sort of break through that layer and allow the solder to bond to it. Keeping the tip on here clean is also key, which is kind of dirty now. I'm gonna clean this up. And most people have like a sponge. Here's my tip now. I could see nice shiny metal on the tip, and so that does seem to work much better. All right, so now I'm gonna add some solder to this wire before I try and connect it. Yeah, that works so much better. Yeah, I probably got too much solder on that one. But, you can see my two wires, one's got solder on it, one doesn't. Clean the tip on this thing again, like every time. Oh my God, that's easy. Fucking A. All right, let's see if we can prep the other the other switch thing here. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh my God. Life has gotten so much better. All right. I want to clean up these other connections a little bit. And those I probably want to pre-solder. All right, so this is what my switch looks like at the moment. In case anybody else ever tries to do the same exact thing. I've got the two switches, or I got the two wires on there on the one side, and that's the side that gets activated only when I push the button. So, and then I'm going to try and pre-solder the other side because those were not used on the CBR at all. So they don't have any solder on them. The other ones had solder on them already. So I felt comfortable in just putting some flux on that solder and going with it. This one, I feel I need to add solder before I try and add the wire on there. I think we're good. Oh my Lord. Look at that madness I've just created. Oh yeah. All right, I'm hoping that works. We can reassemble the switch now. All right, so now we've got our rewired switches. I'll put them back into the switch housing. Start with this guy here. Yeah. All right, now this guy goes down in here. All right, now that we've gone to the hassle of soldering all of our wires and transferring that over, I'm going to see if the other side of this even fits up. I'm making a bet that it does, that these threads are the same. So that is correct. That one threads on, no problem. Yes. Oh, baby. All right. So that should work. Oh, man. There's a great thing right there. All right, I'm going to try and get the other control off now, off the VFR. And what I'm finding curious is that the horn is actually attached directly from the controllers over here. But we've got two connections on this up here that have never been disconnected in 25 years. All right, so the first miracle I'm going to look for on these other controls is compare the connections. Now these connections are the same style connection, same size and everything, but if we look at the pins inside, like there's completely different pin setups on there, different numbers of pins. The old one has a whole bunch of pins, it's full, and this one has only like 3/4 of the number of pins. And then our other connections are different sizes, different styles, essentially, and different number of pins as well. So there's no way this is a plug and play, which we should have known from the other one that we just did. There was a slim chance of that happening. But I like to look for the miracles just in case they're there. So now we have to sort of investigate and see what's what on these, see what similarities they have and what differences they have, see how to make this work. All right, so it looks like if I look at the one switch here, I think it's our high-low beam, like there's a blue and white wire on that one, or on our new one, the CBR, and on the old one, also some blue and white wires. I'm gonna start taking stuff apart. All right, so I think we've lucked out again on this, these switches, that they are basically using the same style type of switch. It looks scary at first because the CBR one here, this one has only got 2 wires going to it, whereas the VFR has 3 wires going to it. But if you look closely at them, they're basically the same switch. And if you go back to the CBR, there's 3 connections potential there. There's 2 that are used, and there's 1, I can see the copper behind it. And then if I look at how the switch is actually working, I can see where there's the opportunity to add, there's like a blank connection in there basically. So I should be able to, again, cut these off and wire in these 3 onto this newer switch. All right, I'm taking the VFR switch apart some more. So here are all the basic switches of the VFR. So we got our horn. Looks like we got power and juice going, or we got power and ground on that one. More complicated one. Luckily Honda still, the same wire color coding as they always have, which is orange and blue. A light orange, a light blue for left and right turn signals. So we've got the horn sorted. We've got the high beam switch sorted. We just need to take a look at this turn signal one and see if we can, how we're gonna make that work. So our new CBR switch has got, whoa, we've only got 3 wires coming in. There's a lot less wiring on the new one. Oh, this might be where it goes, fucking goes wrong. We've got 6 wires on the old one, and the wires are in there in such a way where I'm like, how do I even get to them? All right, it looks like the piece that has the wires on it is this separate piece that's down inside this sort of housing again. Okay, that's out. All right, so we've got 3 wires coming in here. I'm not sure how the CBR is set up. I'm gonna look at my CB500 because that's the same vintage and it's got the same type switch. I'm gonna look at a wiring diagram on that and see if that can tell me what's going on here, where these wires are going. If they're going to a circuit board or what. And then, because I'm imagining I can just, like, blue is for one side of the bike, orange is for another side of the bike, and if I just, and these ones have 2 blues, 2 oranges, one for, I imagine it's going to each side of the bike. Maybe this one just splits off later on down the wire here. It splits into 2 and goes to each side of the bike, whereas this one has got all of them wired at the same spot. So I'm thinking, like, if I could combine these wires and wire them and solder them both to the same spot on the new one, and that might be my solution. But yeah, I need to look at some wiring diagrams. So I'm probably going to do that, and then that's it for today. We'll be back tomorrow once I figure this out.